we talked about Oppenheimer, and so I feel like I saw Barbie, so I feel like we got to talk about like the other half of the Barbenheimer moment in pop culture history.
Barbie is the highest grossing film of 2023 so far. I think over $1 billion.
It was the same thing with the Marvel movies or Mario or the Mario movie, where it's like it's so obvious to everybody except like movie executives, I guess, that like there's this hunger for like, again, like Mario, like the Marvel heroes, there's been generations who've grown up with Barbie. And so the idea that there isn't, that this thing, it took this long for this thing to come here, and that when it arrives, it's gonna be a phenomenon. And it was.
I know that there's been a lot of Barbie, like, media, like CGI stuff and like animated stuff and other stuff.
Right, yeah. But that's different than like a big movie for grown-ups.
And I was thinking like, wow, how haven't they, like, I know it's kind of a high const, like, how are you going to turn it into a movie? But, like, I'm surprised they haven't tried to, like, tap into that by now. Like,
yeah, one of the things I thought, like, leading up to, it's going to touch on a lot of the same things as Toy Story. How is it going to address those themes and not like, be in the shadow of Toy Story? Because Toy Story, did a lot of those themes of, like, play and toys and what is the purpose of play and what do these toys that we play with say about us and stuff. So and I feel like they did do a good job. Like they did kind of cover different ground. And also, how do you come up with an idea that hasn't been done on The Simpsons? Or how do you come up with an idea that hasn't, a sci-fi idea that hasn't been done on Futurama? And then it's like, how do you come up with a sci-fi idea that hasn't been done on Futurama and that you could actually do better than they, because The Simpsons and Futurama do such a thorough.
It's got an auteur behind it, Greta
Gerwig, and then and then another auteur involved, Noah Baumbach. I think they co-wrote the script. I didn't know they were a couple. That's interesting.
Like, it's the Total Recall, like, People magazine
column
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Celebrity gossip.
Celebrity gossip.
I think they co-wrote it together, and then Greta Gerwig directed it. So and that was like what I had heard. Like, that was the thing that got me interested in it. Was like long ago hearing about that, and it's like, oh, they're gonna do this like intellectual take on Barbie. And again, like I felt a kinship with it because like I feel like that's kind of like what I did with Transformers and G.I. Joe and GoBots, was like, okay, I'm gonna apply all of my powers to make to try to make GoBots into high art.
And you did.
Thanks.
I'm very excited for this film. I don't really know anything about it beyond the surface. I know, like, same with like Oppenheimer. Beyond, with both of these films, like, I just know like the surface.
Yeah, I mean, I started hearing things about Barbie in anticipation of seeing it, and it was kind of like, okay, if I want to see this movie, I better see it soon because like just be at the coffee shop or something, hear people talking about it and stuff. But like I went to see it with my wife. She was interested in seeing and she grew up with Barbie, played with Barbie when she was a kid, and so like she was, and it was interesting watching it with her because like we're kind of talking afterwards because there's so many like deep cut references for Barbie.
That's
heads.
what I was excited. Like I don't know completely. Like I know that they mentioned the Barbie that was been played with
too much,
and like I love the deep cut.
Yeah, that was weird Barbie. And
she
was played with too rough, and the kid got a little too like rough with their Barbie toy. But yeah, like but there's all these like deep cuts of like actual Barbie toys that are like incredibly weird, and they always kind of like footnote it with like, yeah, this was a real toy, and so and I was asking my wife, I'm like how much of a Barbie head art, like, do you know the ins? And she's like, no, most like. She had Barbie like in the 80s, and it's Malibu Barbie, and the Barbie dream car and that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, she doesn't know about all those like obscure like weird Barbies. But I did wonder, like, I don't know any Barbie heads, so I want, like, you meet a lot of Transformer heads, you meet a lot of G.I. Joe heads, or Star Wars heads or whatever, who know this stuff inside and out. And I don't know if like how sizable this like Barbie head community is.
There was like there was a time where like I knew like every toy for it. Like there was just that era, and like I still need to like to tap into that. But I remember there was a commercial for the Barbie. It was like the RV.
Mm-hmm.
It looked so fucking cool. Like it reminded me of like a mask vehicle,
right?
And like it like expanded. I was like, that thing is fucking looks so dope. I need to snag that maybe at the next fucking toy show.
The Barbie commercials I remember, there was like a Ken that you could shave his face, where it was like that kind of thing where it's like if it's wet or if it's cool, it's like, you know, it turns into a beard. But then if it's like,
oh, I love that. I saw it. Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, like where you can shave away his beard. And then there was like a Barbie shower or a bath or something where you could like press a button and like it could spritz.
Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for a great gimmick. There was like these like dolls. There were like these stuffed animals that like you would make them like tears with like you put like liquid in the back, and these like animals would like cry out of their eyes.
My sisters had Barbies. Gem came out.
Gem in the hologram.
And then there was Barbie and the Rockers.
Barbie and the Rockers
was the Barbie equivalent
80s
to that
aesthetic.
Yeah, so like they had like the Barbie like rock band kind of Barbie, and it came with like a cassette that was like the Barbie and the Rockers album that you could put into your Fisher Price tape recorder and listen to.
This toy line, you gotta look it up. It was like it was basically like it wasn't the Mego or wasn't G.I. Joe. You know, like the G.I. Joe, like the I remember, I don't know what scale it is, but like the large scale G.I. Joe, it was different. It was about Barbie size, but it was called like Exo Squad.
Okay.
I think the figures were Barbies, like almost. I think they could have like coexisted. Like your Barbie, you're playing here, and these fucking like there's a guy with like a half of a burnt face,
nice.
And like this like camouflage jumpsuit and these weird like. I just remember...
Well, because there was a point where, like, G.I. Joe and Barbie were, like, a similar scale. You know, there'd be comedians... in the 80s comics boom, a lot of comedians would have these jokes about, like, oh, G.I. Joe on shore leave, you know, with the Barbies, you know.
Exo Squad, this was a diamond in the rough, because they were, like, on sale for, like, $1 or something, and... I think my mom got me the entire fucking set of all this. Like, I got a whole toy line, like, at once. And I never heard of it or heard from it again. And they were, like, super clearance, but I, like, basically
So your mom could, like, sweep up everything for pennies on the dollar.
And I got, like, a fucking... And we play with these a lot. Anybody has any Exo Squad, send them to the Tokopia box. The weaponry were cool. There were these big, like, it was almost like aliens, like those guns you would hold on. Exo Squad. I didn't imagine that. I might be huffing paint.
Yeah, my grandmother was always good for that. Like on Christmas Eve, like my grandmother would like give us our presents. And like, so like one year it was Eagle Rock. And it was like this like big, like eagle shaped mountain fortress with these little, I think they were called Eagle Force, these little like die-cast metal soldier characters.
Oh, that's cool.
With like the gold. They had like gold outfits and stuff. They had like berets and stuff. So like, yeah, it would always be some weird toy line like you never heard of like until that moment.
The Exo Squad, I think, is by Tonka.
My wife, like, she still has, you know, all the toys she had when she was a kid. It's like, oh, I recognize those Barbies because it's like those are the ones my sisters had because they are they're very 80s. Ken's got like brown hair. It's not like the blonde Ken that's in the movie. And it's like Miami Vice fashions. You know, it's like that era.
His hair is Harry Hamlin hair.
Now, Margot Robbie, you know, she's great. I mean, this is her movie. She's great in Barbie and she carries it. It's one of those things though, where like you hear about what the original casting was, and then it's kind of like you deduct points from the movie because you're imagining the movie with like the original casting. So it's kind of like hearing that Adam Sandler was going to play Eli Roth's role in Inglourious Bastards. Like, I can't watch that movie without thinking of that, without picturing. And somebody needs to use some kind of like CGI to put Adam Sandler in that, because I want to see Adam Sandler come out. And he would have been so perfect in it. And yet Adam Sandler stepping out of the shadows with this baseball bat and saying, "It's a line drive across the," you know, doing his like Boston accent and stuff. Home run! You know, like it would have been so perfect with Adam Sandler. And like the world is lesser as a result that Adam Sandler didn't get to be in Inglourious Bastards. And that other movie that he made, Funny People, I think it's called.
Oh yeah,
Funny People. It's a great movie. It was not a huge hit or anything. I think Funny People is a great movie, and like, you know, it's how do you like, and it's a movie built around him. Like, how could he not have done that movie in order to do this like much smaller role in a Quentin Tarantino movie? But it's kind of like, oh, couldn't you have figured something out, you know, to get it? But in any event, it's kind of like that with Barbie, because the role of Barbie was written for Amy Schumer. And so I can't help, like, how great the Barbie movie would have been with Amy Schumer as Barbie, because, like, again, she plays that kind of character sometimes, and it's like, you know, and this kind of like aloof or like superior kind of like attitude that some of her characters have. The comedic person, like, it would have been so perfect. That's another movie that we just don't get this, and I, you know, like, so that's in the back of my mind, you know, watching Barbie. And then, but yeah, Margot Robbie is excellent in it. Like, Ryan Gosling is like one of my favorite actors. Like, I think he's amazing. I love the movie Blue Valentine. That's like one of my favorite movies.
I've never seen that.
That might be my second favorite movie after Empire Strikes Back is Blue Valentine. It's so great. And so it makes me think of like, ooh, how about a Barbie where it's Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams? You know, Steven Spielberg's mom.
Wow.
And you know, in Blue Valentine, there's like scenes where they are so in love and you like feel it, and like you're pulling for this couple. You want nothing but good things for them, and then they have to go through, you know, all the challenges of life. And then there's scenes where they just fucking hate each other. And like each of those kind of scenes are played so like you completely believe it. You completely believe they fucking hate each other, and then you completely believe that they are like that this is like an amazing love story, and these two need to be together. So it's like that would have been interesting too.
Like, this is great with this material, getting like a director with a singular vision,
yeah,
and then getting two like more, you know, dramatic actors to play comedy.
The Ken role in the movie, there's not a lot to work with there. Like, I was a little disappointed in that aspect, because just seeing the poster and stuff, like, I thought it was going to be the adventures of Barbie and Ken, and that they were going to have this fabulous life together, and it was going to be amazing. And they do find themselves at odds with each, like where Ken kind of becomes the antagonist of the movie at a certain point. And Ken is in the movie is kind of such a comedic character that like Ryan Gosling, like, you know what he's capable of. And like, if that role were just a little bit meatier, how great that would be. And like, you do, like, there are moments where he does like little unexpected, you know, gives these scenes a little bit of a twist, and you do kind of see a look in his eye of him kind of enjoying this. But it's like, I wish it was like, I wish the material was took more advantage of what he's capable of. Yeah.
Have you seen The Nice Guys?
No, I haven't.
Dude, that's my favorite Gosling performance that I've seen. I haven't seen.
You got to see Blue Valentine. I mean, it's an amazing movie. Amazing performances by Michelle Williams and Ryan Gosling. It was that was my introduction to Ryan Gosling, and that movie's just so great. It's like, okay, you know, this guy's great, you know, and Michelle Williams is great.
You're gonna love The Nice. We got to do a Nice Guys episode.
Well, I'd be happy to watch it.
Russell Crowe is great in it, but Ryan Gosling, his performance in that is so hilarious, and so I'm a fan of Ryan Gosling's too.
Yeah. I was laughing nonstop for maybe like the first 45 minutes, half hour of, like, it's so funny. There's such great gags. It's very, it starts with like a Stanley Kubrick, 2001 kind of riff, but it does have a very Kubrick feel, and it's just hilarious. And you were talking about like the Barbie RV and stuff.
Yeah.
There are so many great, especially in like the opening scenes of the movie, there are so many great gags just built around like the actual Barbie toys and stuff. And it's almost like the same joke again and again, just with a different toy. But every single time it's like kind of surprising and funny. Like, I was laughing out loud. And
they should have had, I don't know if this is in the movie or not. Wouldn't it have been funny? She's like, there's my little friend. It's Gizmo driving the Corvette.
Yeah, like at that point, then it would become Toy Story. Like, it really is hard to, like, the thing that separates it from Toy Story is it does have those aspects of play and growing up and becoming too old for toys, and then adults who play with toys and what that means for them and stuff. Like, it's got those aspects, but then there's also this larger thing of sort of, like sexism and feminism and the patriarchy and things there and matriarchy, and like there's these sort of larger theme. Like it's a very, very intelligent movie. Like it's a brainy movie. It's super smart, and it has this like point of view that, and it's almost like an essay. Like there's the essay aspect of it where it's kind of laying out like these intellectual points that it wants to make and these things it wants to communicate. And then there's also like the movie, like the heart, like the part you get caught up in. And there are moments where those two things are kind of competing with each other or at odds, but there's enough of like the essay aspect is sort of strong enough, and then the emotional story is kind of just strong enough to make the whole thing work as a whole, where it could have gone wrong, but it doesn't. And it has a lot of brains, and then it has some heart, but not quite as much. And so it's always like, I really like the movie. I didn't love it. And I feel like when it seems to me like I like smart movies. But a movie that's like got a lot of heart, I'm always like, heart is always going to win out over intelligence. But I like the ambition of an intelligent movie. And that is like, for me, it's kind of like The Last Jedi is a super smart Star Wars movie.
I love The Last
Jedi.
And
it does have a lot of heart, but it's more smart than heart, where like the J.J. Abrams ones are kind of like more heart than smart. Even though J.J. Abrams is very smart. And I think part of J.J. Abrams' intelligence is knowing that you gotta put a little more, you gotta fake heart, if you don't really have the heart, you gotta fake it, or you gotta like hold back on the smart a little bit, let the heart go to the surface.
Even at the age of the internet, I
thought you were gonna say the age of the idiot.
That's my in the age of the internet, like I still managed to avoid the hate for The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't know the full scope.
Oh, it's there. It's there waiting for you. Check the comments or whatever. But like Barbie is like, I could imagine a less smart, more heart version of Barbie that I might have liked better, like maybe even loved. But this is like, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was a really good movie, really smart. And the thing that it made me think of is Idiocracy.
Oh yeah, that's
and this is Mike Judge's critique of Idiocracy. He felt that Idiocracy was like a really good idea for a movie, and that it was a really good like essay. It was a really good thing of like laying out like a case and some observations about how society works and things like that. But he said there wasn't a movie there. That's his. Now I don't agree with him, but that's his assessment, that there wasn't enough of a movie there. And Barbie is like Idiocracy. It has like a really strong conceptual foundation, like, and it's a really beautiful essay. And that is something film can do. Like, we are conditioned to accept and embrace certain stories and kinds of stories, and we are not conditioned to embrace a movie that has like a point of view that is, trying to like really say something. Like you gotta put a ton of sugar in that to make it go down. And so the fact that a movie, this smart has come out and is like a huge hit, phenomenal, is pretty rare. And I'm trying to talk about it without spoiling too much, because there are just a million wonderful surprises in the movie.
In Oppenheimer 2, I am behind behind my game.
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, come on, you're asleep at the wheel here. It is interesting because they do delve into, what is Barbie? What's the purpose of Barbie? What's the purpose of toys? What's it say? And then, Barbie is like Barbie Land or whatever is a vision of a certain kind of utopia, like a certain vision. And it's so interesting to see sort of like a mirror held up to our society and like an alternate version of the way society could be, and have it so spelled out. And I don't remember ever seeing a movie that presented that's like, okay, here is, even though it's, comedic, exaggerated, played for laughs and things, here is a vision of a Barbie-archy or whatever. Here's a vision of a matriarchal society and how it might function, even though it's like a cartoon, like kind of silly version. Like, I don't remember ever seeing a movie that like kind of showed that and then contrasts it with a patriarchy and with the world as we know it. And it's really interesting. And then there's a scene in it where America Ferrara just goes down this like list of things about like expectations and the sort of pressures and responsibilities and of women and the sort of tightrope walk that you have to walk to sort of survive in a patriarchy and things like. I don't remember ever seeing something like spelled out so explicitly and so clearly. Like it's really beautiful and useful. Like I could see Barbie being part of like a classroom, kind of like assigned viewing. It's like just super interesting and just really like amazing in that respect. Again, in this sort of pop entertainment.
We'll have to do a Barbie follow up after I.
Yeah, same thing with The Flash. We'll do a Flash follow-up when you see The Flash. We'll do a Barbie follow-up, an Oppenheimer. That's the other like Oppenheimer and Barbie, Barbenheimer, they're kind of paired up in this moment. And it is an interesting comparison because it is kind of like you have Barbie, which, is sort of, talking about, it's like a critique of the patriarchy and possible directions that society could go into. And you have Oppenheimer, which is maybe like the ultimate expression of patriarchy, like sort of the end game of patriarchy, which or the ultimate expression of patriarchy, which is creating something that could end all life on Earth. Like that. It is a really interesting pairing. Those two movies together really are like magic.
It is magic too. Like the color palette.
Yeah, right.
I fucking love like the dusty desert juxtaposed with like the pinks and the white and like the yellow. Like it's really cool.
I always liked that that sort of like we call it pink, but it's like more magenta. That like magenta aesthetic of like it is like a very like it is a very like it does something physically to your eyes and to your brain.
I'm like yes, Barbenheimer reminds me of the I don't know, when Captain Corelli's mandolin. It's like that and whatever else. It's like
when like I feel like that's gonna be the when they're doing I love the 20s or something, when they're doing like the nostalgia for the 2020s, that's how they're going to sum up 2023 is Barbenheimer.
Remember Barbenheimer?
Mm-hmm. Where were you when you saw Barbenheimer? I'm glad my wife liked the movie because when we were watching it, she's from Pittsburgh and she's got that kind of Pittsburgh thing. Like she just has this natural like repulsion reaction to pretension and pretentiousness, and like this Barbie movie was very ambitious and did have like a very specific kind of like points it wanted to get across. And so when that started becoming clear in the movie, I started getting real nervous. I'm like, I'll bet she hates this. Like she did love the movie. She enjoyed it. Like I think we both kind of enjoyed the movie, exactly the same degree. Like we came out of it the same, like kind of like we really liked it. We had a couple notes, but we, really liked this. But I was happy because I was kind of worried. I'm like, I think she's checked out. I don't think this is the movie she thought she was going to get. I thought because she loves Blue Valentine also, and I'm like, I think she was hoping for Blue Valentine, but with Barbie and Ken, and this is not that. So
I'm going to check with that stream.
Yeah, it really is just them. It's Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams. It's a very intimate. It's like independent movie, very small, but like so smartly made. Really great movie. And it's a movie, it's kind of like, before midnight or before.
Oh,
it's kind of like that because it's
Sunset Trilogy.
Yeah, it's like very like tightly focused on this one relationship. And also like, it's kind of like those movies, you can like revisit them over the years and see how the viewing experience has changed as your life changes and as time changes. And Blue Valentine's like that too. Like I see it every couple of years, and whenever I see it, it's like it's a different movie each time. I
kind of see that.
Yeah, it's really great. And then we'll do the Blue Valentine episode. Yeah, but just like some of the gags, like the gags that I was cracking up at, it is like, I don't want to spoil stuff, but like, there's like, she's in her dream house and then she opens up her refrigerator and it's just like a sticker of like all the food that's in there. And then she like, and then she's got her like plastic toy thing of milk and like she pours it into and there's like nothing going in there and there's like, she's like so that stuff's so great. And then, and then like that Barbie RV that you're talking about, there's like a scene where like, the ambulance shows up and it's like the Barbie ambulance. And then it kind of opens like this kind of like accordion like opening, this like exquisite just great toy design where it like opens up and it's like, it's hilarious just kind of seeing all this stuff kind of like in actual practical use.
I'm still craving that they're both Warner Brothers, the Gremlins Barbie crossover.
Yeah, you got Gizmo riding shotgun in the Barbie dream car. Yeah, I was a little disappointed they didn't use like the 80s Barbie dream car where it's like a Corvette or something. Like it was a little more classic, like she's driving around in like a 60s convertible or something. But I would have liked the 80s, like, the one my sisters had where it was like that, like magenta. And then the underside is like white plastic.
Okay. We're going to have to do episodes on, there's this new Scorsese coming out, new David Fincher, new Michael Mann, like all these.
We'll have to do some other Greta Gerwig movies and some other Noah Baumbach movies because I love their movies.
Lady Bird, we'll have to do that, and not the Squid and the Whale. Is that Noah?
Squid and the Whale, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
There was that one. Oh, there's the great one with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. Where
it's a Marriage Story.
Yeah, and it's about Noah Baumbach's divorce. It's like
it's Total Recall.
Yeah, celebrity gossip. So yeah, like Barbie, I'm glad I got to see it because it was like, wasn't 100% sure I was going to see it, but when my wife was on board, it's like, okay, done deal. We'll go see Barbie. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Star and the Solar Legion. All three of those books, it's September, so they're all coming out in September, so they might even be at your local comic book store now, and if they're not, they will be very soon.
September 2023, I'm Matt Zeoli.
You know, it's like, everybody will remember 2023 from Barbenheimer, and then I Am Stan, Jack Kirby, and Star Warriors. Starbenheimer, Stanbenheimer Warriors. Stanben Kirby Heimer. And yeah, follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli, on Instagram at Tom_Scioli, and support my Patreon. Go to patreon.com and search Tom Scioli.
Follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
And yeah, we'll see you next time. What's the 2024 Barbenheimer going to be? People, they're going to deliberately be coming up with this too. Like, okay, let's do.